teacher certification. So for starters, I want to clarify that if you are doing an online yoga teacher certification, I would strongly advise that you have a background in yoga. Now, if you don't already and you're just starting out, there's nothing wrong with that, but please start taking some classes now. Get a feel for how cueing works from in-person classes, figure out what type of yoga you might want to pursue, and that can help you redefine your personal goals in terms of your career achievement and figure out which of these options are going to be best for you. So I'm going to look at 5 comparable options, and I'm going to start right here with my Vinyasa practice. So this is an accredited online opportunity here. My Vinyasa practice has different teacher trainings, which you can see here. So when you're looking at their teacher training, obviously you have it's going to be pretty Vinyasa focused, right? But you have the 200-hour yoga teacher training or the 300-hour yoga teacher training. These are both really informative, really in-depth. One of the things I will point out, which we're going to circle back to, is the 300-hour covers additional things like prenatal yoga. That is something that you won't find when you complete your 200-hour from them. Now, this is important if that's something you want to pursue. Trauma-informed yoga might be the approach you want to provide, restorative yoga or prenatal yoga. Again, very important that you do already have some sort of background when making this decision. With this opportunity, you can also do the 500-hour over here. You can see that enrollment is based on a pretty basic price here. So right now they have this discount, but in general, $850 for the 200-hour, around $1,000 for 300. This pay once promotional price, but it can be more than that depending on which sales they have going on at any given time. So what you'll have here, if you want, you can add bundles, right? Things like Ayurvedic nutrition, mindfulness coaching, somatic healing. This is something that really stands out for me when looking at different schools. Registration is pretty easy, right? If you want to enroll, you click on the button, you sign up, you set up your billing details. You can pay once, you can pay over time, and it's that simple. And then you get started. So everything there is offered online. If you know what it is you want to pursue, that will make it a lot easier for you to consider whether these bundles are a good fit for you. So someone who exclusively wants to really dive into pranayama yoga, your focus is breathing techniques and how the mind-body connection revolves around breath, well, this will be a good self-paced option. These are all self-paced options that you complete online. They are comprised of videos as well as reading materials, but a lot of videos, a lot of training. Now I'm going to pop over here to ISSA. Now the reason being, I did mention that one of the key differences between the 200 and 300 hour over here with my Vinyasa practice is what they offer. So you have more of the yoga nidra over here. You have the adaptive prenatal trauma informed. When you get the yoga 200 certification from ISSA, that's actually all included in their 200. So you don't have to upgrade or pay more for a 300-hour training. This is set up in much the same fashion. It is more expensive, but there's a reason for that. One of the things is you get the textbook, you get a digital textbook. It's big, I'm warning you now, but so is the time commitment to get this class done. You also have things like the 3D animation library, which helps show you different moves. You have lots and lots of practice. You have the opportunity to complete quizzes and take your online at-home self-paced. But a bigger part of that is the weekly Zoom session. When you get your yoga teacher training certification from ISSA, you get access to a weekly live Zoom call. Now that's very important because when you're considering these companies, you kind of have this short spectrum for online options, right? So over here you have online only. It's all pre-recorded, that's what you get. Over here you have in-person, right? You're able to go to your training in person, get those hours over time. And then somewhere in the middle, you have options where have a combination, that hybrid approach. So some of it is in person or live at the very least, and some of it is pre-recorded. ISSA is right there in the middle. So a lot of their video material, and there's a lot, is pre-recorded. But it's pre-recorded from several different instructors, each of whom have a niche. Then you get the live content. That happens every week. And guess what? I got my certification a long time ago, and I still have access to every weekly Zoom session. Just because I'm done and I got my certification doesn't mean that I'm done learning. And they know that, which is why they continue to provide that new content. A big part of that too is if you're new and you're just getting started, you'll still have options for live content. You won't have to only go back and review those boring videos that were pre-recorded 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So there's a continuing education aspect to it so that you can, ask questions, especially if, let's say I have my certification, which I do, I suddenly have a really important question. I can go pose that question during the Q&A of those live Zoom calls and get answers in real time. So that to me is what makes it worth the $300 to $400 more than you get with my Vinyasa practice over here. Now let's pop over here with aligned yoga. Sorry, let's pop over here with aligned yoga. So becoming a teacher here, you just click that enroll button and it's going to take you right down. So this option, you have a lot of payment plans, and that's kind of where it takes you. You can see it's an expensive option. It's almost $3,000. Now, it doesn't matter if you break it down into multiple payments, you're still paying almost $3,000. Now, with that, you get 1 year of unlimited and flexible access to the training. That means 1 year to complete your training. That doesn't mean 1 extra year after you've completed. However, you do get 1 year of feedback and support. So you get ongoing support, but only for a year. You don't have that same limit when you pop over here to ISSA. You get that ongoing support. You have access when you sign in. You actually have access to all the same content. You can go back. I can go back and rewatch any of those videos. I can go back and review the material. I can download the textbook. Heck, I can even buy a physical textbook if I want at any time. So you are a little bit more limited, and yet there's so much more cost built into aligned yoga. So with this, Brioni is the creator here. So I actually used to take some of her online yoga classes on Alo Moves like 10 years ago. She had a bunch of different yoga sets. I was testing out different instructors before I got certified, just right before. So I don't mind her technique. I don't mind her style. She's perfectly lovely. But now she has created this option here where you can get your certification for a pretty hefty fee. Now with that, you get the same type of things that you'll learn anywhere else. I don't see anything that is different from other companies. Maybe over here you have the inversion and arm balance study, but that's still technically covered by all the other options. Social media for yoga teachers, that's kind of where she differs. So if you're very young, I think that's the polite way of saying that. If you're very young and you are looking not to teach in-person classes per se, but more to be an online influencer or offer online classes only, this might be something to consider, but I would still argue you might be able to find it elsewhere for a lot cheaper. So with her, you get written materials, same as a textbook. You have ongoing support with Bree from WhatsApp, and then you get one-on-one calls with her. There is a comment section. You get to track your progress, but you can also track your progress with all of these other options. If you really want that one-on-one support with someone other than the Q&A during a live Zoom session, and you want to be able to just text someone who's obviously been doing this for a while, then aligned yoga might be well worth it. Personally, I think it's really expensive, but if that is what you want, then it's totally worth it. I do like, however, that in-person and online options. So you might prefer in-person if you're close enough, in which case you can do yoga teacher training in person. But one of the things that stood out for me was her 5-day cueing intensive. So cueing's really hard, right? For those of you who don't know, cueing is the language you use as an instructor to ensure that your clients, your participants, all of your students moving in a way that is safe and aligned with how you want them to move. If I give a bad cue or I don't use the right word, position themselves incorrectly, they could risk injury. They could just risk not getting the health benefits of moving into a certain position. That's a lot harder than you think, because something that makes sense to you might not make sense to everyone else. So cueing is very important. It is covered in a lot of other online yoga right here, sequencing and cueing. That's a very important part of any yoga teacher training. Same with ISSA, you're gonna have that same type of support. They have, I believe, several weeks worth of opportunities for building up that cueing ability and practicing that in real time. But if you want to get your 200 hours somewhere else, maybe somewhere more affordable, then you can move on to the 5-day cueing intensive from here. So this is, as you see, 5 days. It's coming soon. You do have to sign up and join the wait list, but I think that's pretty fun. You do get pre-recorded lectures and 2 live sessions, so most of it is the same as pre-recorded. The one thing I don't like here, 1 year access. So you can see here, it's limited. you won't be able to access that forever. So that's a bummer. If I'm paying this much money, I want to be able to access things pretty much as long as I keep that certification going, which is definitely what you get with ISSA. YogaRenew. So they have courses right here, 2, 3, and 500 hour. They also have specialty certifications, which I love. So this is where knowing what it is you want to pursue is so important. If I know that I want to do children's yoga, I want to be able to work in our local school system, travel to elementary schools and middle schools, then I need that children's yoga certification. And really, I'm going to find it here. That's hard to find anywhere else. So I can focus on children's yoga. I can do that after my online teacher training, my 200 hour. So I can enroll in a program like this and get certified to teach children. There are so many other avenues you might want to pursue if you are getting your yoga teacher training certification. And that includes maybe the health and fitness industry beyond just breath work and yoga practice. And if that's the case, again, we're going to pop back over here to ISSA. So you can see here that you have a lot of opportunities to add specializations. So in addition to things like 5-day queuing or kids yoga teacher training, you can add things like menopause coach, bodybuilding coach, strength and conditioning coach. You can add exercise therapy. You can add glute specialist. So maybe you're pursuing something for building up glute strength and balance, in which case balance and flexibility, glute strength, and a certified personal trainer can be something to add to your online yoga teacher training certification. The cost is going to be different whether you're in person or online. I like the flexibility of online, and I love that you can add specializations based on what career path you want to pursue. My top picks are going to be ISSA, especially for any other type of weightlifting, bodybuilding, or health and fitness career path. I love YogaRenew for specialized yoga practices, yoga anatomy, yoga retreats. If you're someone who really wants to focus on retreats, maybe you have another job during the week and you want to be able to offer retreats on weekends, that's something great. My Vinyasa Practice, I love that they have these bundles here and they're pretty affordable. The bundles that you have down here for things like somatic healing. And then my last option, Align Yoga with Bree. I think it's a great opportunity. I liked the way she taught. She's perfectly fine. Personally, I find it a little expensive and limited since you have that access cut off after 1 year. So just figure out what it is you like most and make your choice.